Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? How is everybody today? Hope you're having a good day. Happy Father's Day to our fathers. And enjoy. It's a nice sunny day here. Go swim, go barbecue, go golf, and just enjoy the weather. Um, let's take a look. Now, yesterday I gave you some baseball games, but there was a change on one of them. The Detroit Houston game. I initially gave you Houston under 7.5. Verlander pitching. He didn't pitch. Spaghetti pitched, which that you had to take the game off. So when I give you the game and I say it's because of Verlander, and then you go to bet it, and Verlander's not the pitcher, then just ignore it. You don't play it. So I didn't play it. Hit the Cubs for 10. I hit Philly over 8 was a push. Frisco over 8 I lost. Atlanta over 8.5 I won. San Diego over 8.5 I lost. The Yankees lost. The KC under 8 I lost. So I think what we're realizing is you got to pick. It's very difficult to win baseball because it's average and it's every day. And the guys get tired, and you don't get the same performance. We had the Tigers with their ace Skubal against Hunter Brown with a 5.5 ERA. All we got him is just to win. They get shut out 5-0. Then they face spaghetti because Verlander's didn't pitch yesterday, and they get 13 runs. What the fuck's that about? So you would have expected them with their ace to win 5-0, and then against spaghetti they give up 13, and that's the problem. It becomes very difficult to play this like. I think we're trying to play it like football. We're looking for the Mahomes. We find Verlander, we find the ace, and we're betting it. Now, sometimes it wins. We had Chris Sale the other night. We had the Yankees ace. We had Philadelphia's ace, and it wins. And then sometimes they lose, and then they change pitchers on us. Doesn't help. Well, you don't know. The batters are streaky, and all of a sudden a new batter appears, and you don't know anything about him. So it's a very difficult thing to bet baseball, but that's okay. We're not doing this really to make money. This I'm telling you to bet very, very small if all. I'm showing you how I analyze the variables, and that's very important. But don't get caught up in, well, I'm going to bet a lot on Howard's picks. I don't want you to, because I'm trying to show you how difficult this is. But I'm trying to show you what to look for. Football we got. It's once a week. It's Mahomes. It's Joe Burrow. We get it. We've got it. Good defensive team, good quarterback. We're going to bet them, right? We understand that. Two good over teams like Detroit and who's a good old Miami. They play each other. We're going to bet it over. Now I think San Diego's an under team. With Harbaugh, they play Oakland, 2 under teams. We'll bet it under. I think we've got down to a science, the football. And we're trying to use that for baseball, but it's showing you how difficult it is, because I'm trying to figure it out. And I don't know that you can. I don't know that you can play every day, or you just look, okay, I'm only going to play Verlander and Chris Sale and the guy on the Yankees who's got the 1 ERA and Ranger Suarez, and I'll just stick to the Mahomes of the league. Because even when we're trying, I mean, look at the Tiger game. The pitcher sucked. Hunter Brown had a 5.5 ERA, and he shuts out the Tigers. Well, that would never happen in football. That's like Mahomes throwing for 4 interceptions. It ain't going to happen. And even if it did, he'd probably still win. So that's really what you are looking at is you're trying to figure out what to bet. You're trying to figure out what makes sense. But when you go with the bad pitchers and you say, I'm going to bet against them like you do in football, it still doesn't get you all the way home because they're so inconsistent that they might give up 10 runs. Look at, let's say Colorado scored like 17 runs yesterday. The Tigers get shut out, like I said, with their ace. And then yesterday they scored, 13 runs. Spaghetti's a bad pitcher. And had it been Verlander, they would have gotten shut out again. And be careful when you make the bet is what pitcher you're betting on. And if they switch the pitchers, then don't make the bet. But, we hit the Cubs ace. Philly over 8, hit 8. There's a lot of 7s and 8s, and the lines are 7s and 8s. Sometimes it's hit, sometimes it doesn't. I was watching the Yankee Boston game. I could take about 2 innings, and then I had to turn it off. What the hell is with the Boston yellow jerseys? Is that their normal color now? Not the blue? I mean, what the hell? Look like a softball game. Is that what they're trying to do, is become softball? I mean, it was ridiculous. These bright yellow Boston Red Sox jerseys and their colors blue and red. Oh, we're trying to get sales. Well, if you're any good, they'll buy, they'll buy your blue jerseys and or if you had red jerseys for the Red Sox, that would maybe make sense. Not yellow for the Yellow Sox. So that's what I got out of it. I was updating my college football. I have a spreadsheet, and it automatically links quarterbacks. I pull a quarterback page from Yahoo, and so I do what's called a VLOOKUP, and I go, give me Oakland, give me their quarterback, or give me Georgia and give me the quarterback. And so it automatically populates Georgia with their quarterback, touchdowns and interceptions. I go to other columns, beautiful spreadsheet. But what I do now is look at the coaches. And so when I'm looking at it, and this happened a lot in the Sun Belt, the whole fucking league or Conference USA, all the coaches are new coaches. And you're really at a loss there. It makes betting extremely difficult because you're trying to get the variables. The variables is the key. So you're looking at variables. In baseball, it's extremely difficult. In college football, not too bad. Football is actually very easy. And it's like poker is actually very easy if you know what to look for. So poker, I mean, either the guy plays very tight or he bluffs. I mean, there's that's it. And he might play you. So if you check, he might bet because you're checking, but he's actually a bluffer. So you just set him up. You have trips and you check and he bets into you, and then you come over the top and kill him. And he won't play you anymore. But either you got your tight players who, I got aces, I'll bet. I got kings, I'll bet. I got 2-9, I fold. I got 8-9 offsuit, I'll check, and hopefully I hit. And if I hit, I'll bet. And it's very easy. Or you got your bluffers. And then you got your callers, like Daniel Negreanu will call anything. Even the Cincinnati Kid I was watching again. I figure as long as it's still on Tubi, I'll watch it. And the man, I mean, he was just a calling station. He'd call everything. I mean, I got a call. That's a mandatory call. It's a call. I'm calling. When you watch it, Steve McQueen really fucked up because He had a few hands. If he knew he's mandatory calling and he has like trips, why didn't he just go all in? He'd go, oh, this 2,500. Well, I got to call it. I don't believe you have the flush. So bet $5,000. And then, he's going to call you, right? And just keep pounding him. But I didn't get the last hand, was just a joke because he gets the straight flush against the full house, but then he pulls $5,000 out of his pocket. You can't do that. It's money on the table. You can't, oh yeah, I got 20 grand in my pocket, I'm going to bet on you. But that's here nor there, but Steve McQueen shouldn't have quit because he basically knew how the guy plays. He was playing with him for a week. But you're looking at variables, and then you look at, so football we've got down to a science. Absolutely. We need a good quarterback, but not a great one. It's good to have Mahomes and Burrows, but we can still win. You can still use a Tagliabue and a Goff for over, right? They're going to get you points unless they play really good teams. Really good defenses will stop any good offense. And then they need a running attack to get in from the red zone. And then it's the defense. So what have I been doing in baseball that's been similar to the football? Well, okay, there was a bet I made yesterday. No, with the Phillies on 6-4. So 2 days ago, I had Rangers Suarez going. And I'm going to compare this to football. Rangers Suarez, Philadelphia is like 10-1 with a 1.8 ERA. So I'm either going to bet on him if the other pitcher has like a 4 or 5 ERA. I'm going to take Philly. But the other pitcher had like a 2.5 ERA. So I ended up going under because the 2.5 ERA can neutralize Philly's bats and we'll end up with a 1-1 game, which I think is what happened. The game was like 2-1, 2-2, and it went into extra innings, which was a joke. But that's what we're doing in football. So if we have Mahomes, does he have a good defense? And if he has a good defense, we then bet Kansas City, and then we look at the other team. And if it's Baltimore and Lamar's not good, but they have a good defense, we bet the game under. Or in last year's case, we actually had Mahomes as the dog, and it was a joke. That was a lock. But so you're looking, is it Miami with Tagliabue and its explosive offense with no defense that makes them an over team? Or is it Kansas City with Mahomes and the strong defense makes it an A team? And if we play kind of a weaker team, like maybe Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Carolina, half the league, we just bet KC. But if we get a Baltimore, if we get a Buffalo, we might take the underdog, or we might just play it under like we did in the Super Bowl. We played the game under because two strong defenses, two good teams. So we took the dog. So a lot of it is, if they were to play Detroit has the offense and no defense. KC, strong offense, strong defense, we would have taken KC to win. And they would have just scored 35 on Detroit, and Detroit wouldn't have scored 35 on KC's defense, sort of like the Detroit-Baltimore game or the Miami-Baltimore game. See, when you get the team that's kind of weak on the defensive end, plays the complete team, Baltimore, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Kansas City, San Francisco, they have no chance because their defense won't stop them. So that's where Dallas kind of has a chance because they have the defense, but their offense sucks. And so that's what stops Dallas. But these are easy to read. You look at the quarterback, and you have to be able to understand skill set. Geno Smith, not all there. Dak Prescott, too many interceptions, doesn't show up in the big game. Tagliabue doesn't show up in the big game. Jared Goff doesn't show up in the big game. Caleb doesn't show up at all against any team that's good, aka Notre Dame, UCLA, Oregon. And he's going to be in for a rude awakening when he starts in the NFL. Don't count on him to be a star. We do count on Penix and Bo Nix to be stars. We saw them in big games and they played well. So we're expecting they will play well. But if you have, defense check, good quarterback check, and running back check, like Kansas City, Frisco, Purdy, Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey, strong defense. They got it all. Anytime they're a dog, you bet on them. And if they're playing an equal team like Kansas City or maybe Joe Burrow, you're probably going to bet the game under, or you're going to take the dog. It's probably a good dog game. So you understand the variables. It's once a week. We know we're getting Mahomes or Burrow the whole fucking game. Baseball, I got Verlander, but I don't know if I've got him for 5 innings or 8 innings. Before, it was no problem. You'd have him for 8 innings, and then the one reliever that you knew you could then, okay, we got the reliever in the 9th inning. Now it's, well, we're not sure if the guy is going to go 5 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings, and then which relievers does he pull out? And then, so there's a reliever for the 7th inning, the 8th inning, the 9th inning. If it's a left-handed batter or right-handed, I mean, it's ridiculous. These managers are in so far over their heads. They really don't know anything of what they're doing. I go through the box scores. Guy's hitting 280, and you pinch hit him for a guy who's hitting 120 because he probably is a lefty against the righty or a righty against the lefty. This is how stupid these managers. The guy's hitting 280. If you're telling me he's a right-handed hitter and he's hitting 280 and he's only facing left-handers, and then a righty comes in and you pinch hit him with a lefty who hits 110, man, just go back to the grocery store. You don't know what you're doing. You don't pull a 280 hitter. And if he hits 280, you play him against righties and lefties. I mean, that's ridiculous that if your 280 hitter can only hit lefties and he can't hit righties, you probably need a new hitter on your team. And that's what I'm starting to notice. Philadelphia and the Yankees and some of these better teams, you go down the line, there's more 270, 280, 300 hitters and not the 150 hitters that you have on the Tigers and several teams where these guys have no idea. They shouldn't be in the league. And I think what I'm figuring out is some of these 180 hitters are just up there looking for a walk. They're still doing Moneyball. Well, we'll just try to walk and tire the pitcher out. What a great strategy that is. So I think that's what's happened is that strategy has led to these big bullpens where, well, even if they try to do that, we'll have our guy pitch 4 or 5 innings and then we'll have fresh arms come in. Again, just have your pitcher pitch and the guy, if you have good pitchers, they'll just strike out these guys looking for walks. And, that's it. But the problem with baseball is every day and averages, earned run average, batting average. So how can you tell what a team's going to do? Usually it's you're going against the pitchers is usually that makes, I think the White Sox scored 8 or 9 runs yesterday and they hit like 190 or the White Sox hit 217 as a team, but against a weak pitcher. I mean, you look at the Tigers. The Tigers hit 230, and against Spaghetti, they put up 13 runs. But they were probably so relieved they weren't facing Verlander. They were probably shitting in their pants, figuring, wow, we're going to get shut out again. And so I don't know if Verlander is pitching today or not. We'll go through the games in a minute. But we're realizing that it's an everyday thing. I think you start going to just the Mahomes guys. All right, who's there? Okay, Ranger Suarez is pitching for Philly. Verlander, okay. and just go to those pitchers. One guy I'm not seeing is Shotani. He's not pitching. I haven't seen Scherzer. Hasn't been pitching. I know Gary Cole, I think, is just coming off the DL. I was listening to my inning and a half of the yellow shirted Red Sox yesterday. It's really too boring to watch. And I think you get used to football where there's action almost every play. And then you get baseball and it's foul ball, 3-1, foul ball, I'm hearing they're starting to have bunts and steals again. Why that would lead because of Moneyball is we only want guys that walk. We don't want bunts. We don't want. So why don't you want bunts? Bunts as good as a walk. I don't want a bunch of 180 hitters who only try to hit home runs. I don't want a bunch of guys that walk because if I got second and third and I'm down one run in the ninth, I need a guy who can hit 300 to drive the runs in. I don't need a guy who's going to walk and can't hit. And that's what you've got. You've fucked up all these players who just either go for home runs or strike out, or they go for walks and they can't hit. And that's the problem. And I think some of the teams are going back to bunting and stealing. And they need to go back to four pitchers or 4 pitchers on 4 days rest like it used to be, and let them go. Get rid of this stupid pitch count. It serves all these pitchers are injured, so maybe that doesn't work. Maybe this bullshit 5-inning 100-pitch crap doesn't work. Oh, he can't go 3 times through the lineup. Yeah, I don't think Nolan Ryan or Koufax or Bob Gibson could go 3 times through a lineup. Bob Gibson had like a 1.8 ERA. I think he went through the lineup 3 times, quite a bit, and had no problem. I don't know where they get this shit from. Some analytic math guy goes through and does this and that, and it's a general statement. It's like macroeconomics. You can't look at the whole picture. You got to get micro. And they're just looking at the whole picture and coming up with this bullshit, and these people are believing it. That's why I see all the new football coaches in college, because they don't know what they're doing and they're listening to analytics, which are not correct, and they're all fucked up. And that's what I'm seeing. So it's far easier to pick football. It's far easier to bet poker than it is to play baseball. Craps is pretty easy. You're throwing numbers or they're 7ing out. And blackjack, you got a bad house edge. And it's really, if I have 15 and the dealer has a 6, I'm sticking. If he's got a 10 up, I'm hitting. I mean, that's how hard blackjack is. I mean, that's it. Roulette, pick your color or odd or even. And the only other thing that's really good is backrack, where you can bet bank or you can bet player. So it's like blackjack, but I can bet on the dealer. Okay, fine. So that's the variables that you're trying to figure out. But baseball's variables are extremely difficult, as we're finding, because of the different playing every day. And that's why I don't do basketball. It's too much. But basketball is more running. It's much easier because all you got is Luca Brasi on Dallas, and you got the Jack Tatum on Boston, and that's it. You got 2 players, and So I'll see. It'll be interesting if Luca fixes game 5 like he fixed game 3. That was an embarrassment. He just laid down in game 3. And then he tried in game 4, and they won by 30 points when he tried. Oh, where was that? Why is he fixing the finals? I don't know. It's really kind of bizarre that would be what you fix is game 3. You lay down. I mean, come on. And it was pretty bad acting what he did. So this will be curious. Now, according to that, Jack Tatum should lay down for Boston in game 5 because the TV wants a 7-game series. The league wants a 7-game series. So you would think, if you use that logic, which I never do, it's all matchups. I don't buy that they wanted Mahomes to win, and so they let Casey win. I don't buy that either. It is what it is. Um, so, with that said, let's go through baseball and we'll go through college football. All right. So we're going to be very careful at our baseball look. And again, make sure the pitchers, if you are actually betting this, again, I suggest very small bets. Keep your betting for the football and to buy gold and silver. So 1 o'clock, it's now 11:43, and we got Chicago, St. Louis at the Cubbies. Cubbies are 135, 10.5. That's huge. Miles McCollus, 4-6 with the 4.85 against James Talion, 3-2 against the 3.09. Here's where you get in trouble. We have no idea how Miles McCollus and James Talion are going to pitch. McCollus with the 4.85 could throw a shutout, could give up 8 runs. There's too much risk involved in this. The over-under 10.5 is way too high. I don't know where they're getting that from. I would probably go under just because it's 10.5. It's a bad line. So let's go under, but I wouldn't waste my time betting this because you don't have enough information with these pitchers. Do you want to bet on these pitchers? And it's really difficult because they suck. Philly, Baltimore. This has been interesting. Baltimore 135-7 again. Zach Wheeler for Philly, 8-3 with the 2.16 against Corbin Burns, 7-2 with the 2.08. So we're going to play this game. We're going to go Baltimore under 7. And we're going to go 7 units on it. And it's been, I pushed, I had 8 and 8, and I pushed both games. I think Philly won 6-2, and I think it was 5-3 the other game. So they've been ending right at 8. But this we have a little bit more comfort. Zach Wheeler 8-3, so he's pitched a lot with a 2.16, and Corbin Burns 7-2 with a 2.08. These guys pitched 13, 14 games, a 2.16 and a 2.08 ERA. So we're not expecting a lot of runs. However, we got an over/under of 7. Now the other game was 2-1 in the 9th, and then they tied it 2-2. Then they each scored in the 10th. Now it's 3-3, and then they scored 2 runs in the 11th. Philadelphia to win 5-3, and fuck the under, which was we're under 8. We pushed. It's 2-2, and then they each score in the 10th. I mean, like, what the fuck was that all about? So feel pretty good here that we should get an under, but we don't like the 7. So under Baltimore, Philly go under. See, and there's the other case. We don't, with Zach Wheeler, if he was facing a pitcher with a 5 ERA, if he was facing Miles McCollus of St. Louis, then it would be take Philly. We got a good pitcher against the shit pitcher. We're going to take the good pitcher and hope he pitches the way he should. But in this case, against Corbin Burns, he's 7-2 with the 2.08. You got 2 good pitchers, and here's where then you get into an under situation. 2 good pitchers under. 2 bad pitchers should go over, but we're seeing that's, the bad pitcher can shut you out. But when you got the good pitchers going, you think you should be able to go under. Although we've seen some good pitchers give up 5-6 runs in the first 2 innings, and you're scratching your head going, well, is this guy laying down now too? I mean, does it not stop in any sport? Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Zach Eflin 3-4 at the 4.06. Hunston Waldrop 0-1 with the 17-18 ERA. Oh my God. Again, what are you going to do with this? If you want, maybe you play it over, but how Hurston Waldrop What's he going to pitch? 2 innings, 3 innings? And then there goes the 17, 18 out of the window. And now you got the bullpen. And what I'm noticing too, the starter will go like 6 innings and he gives up 3 runs. And then the bullpen comes out 7, 8, 9, shutout, shutout, shutout. And you're like, how the fuck, why are these guys with 4 ERAs in the bullpen shutting out the other team for the 7th, 8th, and 9th? So you get a lot of that. So there's a lot of confusion. There's so many bad players. There's bad hitters. There's bad managers. There's bad pitchers. The managers got their heads so far up their ass. They don't even know how to make a lineup. I got one guy. He's leading off a guy hitting 180. Yeah, I want a guy hitting 180 up 5 times for me. Oh, my God, what is he doing? He can't justify it because it's too stupid to justify. I want my 180 guy up more than the rest of the team. Okay. Only the rest of the team, I got 300 hitters and 280 hitters that maybe I'd want 5 times up. Anyway, so just forget it. Just terrible pitcher, and you have no idea. Miami of Washington, Jesus Luzardo, 3-5 with the 5.11. Michael Parker for Washington, 4-3 with the 3.21. Again, I would say go under because Miami can't hit. So this is a case we're gonna go under with Miami because they just are terrible hitting, under 8.5, and we'll go 3 units on this. So I got 7 units on the Baltimore under and then 3 units here. Cleveland and Toronto. Cleveland, Ben Lively, 6-2 with the 2.59. Toronto, Jose Berrios, 5-5 with the 2.93. Over under 7.5. We'll go under here. Toronto under 7.5. And we'll play this for 5 units. And you're just Ben Lively's been good. Jose Berrios, 5-5, 2.93 ERA. Okay, makes sense. See, I'd rather bet on the better pitcher to pitch well. He can pitch the shutout versus Jesus Luzardo with the 5.11 to shut him out, right? Him, I don't know, but Berrios and Lively, I've seen enough. Their ERAs are under 3. Hopefully, we get 7 innings out of them in a 1-0 game. That's what we're assuming. We are, it's like poker. I bet you call. You didn't raise me. Okay, I got aces. You probably got kings, queens, or jacks. Okay, I'm expecting you to have that because you didn't check raise me. You just called me. All right. San Diego and the Mets. Dylan Cease, my man, 6-5 with the 3.36. Pitched better last time. Tyler McGill, 1-3 with the 3.51. So here I like Dylan Cease for San Diego. I'll play him for 3 units. Again, you find your pitchers that you can go with that are pretty good. So he came on. Cincinnati, Milwaukee, 135-9. Frankie Montas, 3-5 with a 4.55. Colin Ray, 5-2 with the 3.31. Yeah, I like Colin Ray here. I think he's been pitching well. I'm going to leave it alone, but Milwaukee at home, I think, gets the W. Detroit to Houston. I didn't see pitchers in the morning, but I see them now. Houston's a big 185 favorite, 8.5. Kenta Maeda, this guy just blows. 2-2 with the 5.89 against Ronald Bianco. 6-2 with the 6.77. I'm going to go Houston, and I'll go 7 units on Houston. Basically, I've seen Maeda enough because I'm in Detroit. He sucks. And Bianco, I've been betting because he's got the 2.67 ERA, and I've been winning with. So Verlander's been a little bit hot and cold, but Bianca, and I think there's the other one, good. So this is the reverse of the first game when Hunter Brown went against Skubal for the Tigers, and the Tigers lost 4-0 with their ace. And I love listening to the radio yesterday, driving home from Chinese. It's a carryout, so I drive to Chinese, and then I drive home. So I'm listening to the game, and Skubal just had one bad inning. It's like, well, Yeah, he gave up 4 runs. It was just one bad inning. It was 2 bad pitch. They make excuses. You want to throw up. Fucking be honest. Can't you be honest? Say the guy sucked. All right, so we're going Houston there. But if you notice what I'm doing, I'm only betting on good pitchers that have under a 3 ERA. You can only find so many Verlanders and so many Chris Sales. So you have to look and see 6-2 at the 2.67. Okay, he looks pretty good. I don't know him yet, but I'm learning. Okay. Now, we don't really look at batting average because I'm assuming Blanco is going to fucking shut down Detroit like they got shut down Friday 4-0. Yesterday against Spaghetti with the 6 ERA for Houston's terrible. And they thought they were going to get Verlander, who didn't play yesterday. So, yeah, they hit him pretty good, but they're not going to hit this guy. And the Tigers don't hit very well. And we saw that in the first game. So that's the idea here. We're looking for the good ERA pitchers that can shut them down. Oakland, Minnesota. That was a good Super Bowl, 1976, John Madden. Mini minus 190 and a 9. J.P. Sears, 4-5 with the 4.02 ERA. Bailey Ober, 5-4 with the 5.13. I have no idea. I keep seeing J.P. Sears and Ober and these guys, but they're very inconsistent. So I want to stay away from risk. I don't know what I'm getting. It's like buying a stock. I don't know what I'm going to get. It's controlled. It's very erratic. I'm going to stay away from them. This is like betting on a Tampa Bay Cleveland Brown game. You don't really know what you're going to get. You think the Browns are going to keep the game low, and then they play a 50-point game like they did against Baltimore. So you don't really know what you're getting. You know what you're getting with Mahomes. You know what you're getting with Burrow. I don't know what I'm getting with Sears and Ober, so I'm staying away. Pitt, Colorado, I don't have pitchers. I don't know why. It's 3 o'clock. California and the 49ers. Ben Joyce, 0-0 with a 12.27 for California. Kyle Harrison, 4-3 with a 3.96 for Frisco. I'm not touching this with the 10-foot pole. I don't know what Ben Joyce. I don't know how you have a pitcher in the league with the 12.27 ERA. I assume it's been 1 or 2 games. I assume it's because of injury. So this guy's a real pig. Kyle Harrison, this is the first time I'm seeing this name. He's 4-3 with a 3.96, and I've never recalled him pitching. He's probably a bullpenner guy. So I'm going to leave that alone. Too much risk, not enough reward. Remember, it doesn't matter what, like in football, I always say it's the same reward for the bet. If I bet Kansas City or I bet Carolina, it's 110 to win 100. It doesn't matter. The points might change, but I got the same reward for the same risk in football. I don't need to do it. Here, the kicker is I know I got Mahomes and I know I got Burrow. Here, who the fuck these guys? Who the hell is Ben Joyce? I don't know. Probably like Caleb. He probably sucks. All right. Texas, Seattle. Seattle 135-7. Dane Dunning for Texas, 4-5 with a 4.80. Logan Gilbert, 3-4 with a 3.19. 2 pigs. Next, Kansas City and the Dodgers. I was surprised. I had the game under 8 yesterday with 2 good pitchers with 2 ERAs, and the game went up to like 9 or 10. So again, Brady Singer. Now I'm going, how can I have Brady Singer? I just bet Brady Singer yesterday, I thought. 4-3 with a 3.30 against Tyler Glasgow for the Dodgers. 6-5, 3.24. Stay away. I would bet this game over, but I'm not going to. But that's what it looks like. 2 kind of weak pitchers, but I don't know what I'm going to get out of them. Too much risk. The White Sox against Arizona. White Sox won big yesterday. Go figure that out. Arizona 175, 8.5. Drew Thorpe 0-0 with a 180. Sounds like a bullpenner. Against Jordan Montgomery, 4-4 with a 6.58. I mean, let's see this Drew Thorpe. And he's pitched, he's pitched 1 game against Seattle, 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, 3 hits and 2 runs and 2 walks. What are you going to do with that guy? What are you going to do with this guy? I mean, who the hell knows? He pitched one game, 5 innings. So the 1.8 ERA is bullshit, and Jordan Montgomery 4-4 to 6.58 is real. So I think you can probably go over, but the White Sox hit 220. So this is the problem. Arizona hits very well. So I can't bet Montgomery. I don't want to bet on pigs. I don't want to bet on guys. I don't have enough info. So you leave it alone. All right, the Yankees against the Yellow Sox. Boston in yellow jerseys. What the fuck is that? Oh my God. You're going to run out and buy a yellow Boston Red Sox jersey as opposed to the blue one or maybe even a red one? Okay. Boston, New York, we got Marcus Stroman, 6-2 with a 2.82. Cutter Crawford, 2-6 with the 3. I like the Yankees here. They probably got so freaked out by seeing the yellow jerseys. Marcus Stroman, 6-2 with the 2.82 is legit. Cutter Crawford started with a 1 ERA, is now up to 3.47. He's not very good. He's probably got a 5 or 6 ERA. If you can read between the lines and see the first few games, he had a very low ERA, which means he's got a very high ERA the last 5 or 6 games. So I like the Yankees here. They are 140 favorite, which isn't bad. And last but not least, we got Oakland, Minnesota playing another Super Bowl. So they're playing 2 games. We got Minnie's at 209. The game's in Minnesota. Joey Estes, 2-2 with the 4.78. Chris Paddock, 5-3 with the 4.79. Probably over, but Oakland hits a wonderful 219. Another very variable that how do you throw in your algorithm? They hit 219. You're going to come up with a run progression, but then you got to look at a pitcher is a 4.79. So how do you put in your algorithm a 4.79 pitcher with a 219 team that hits, and you go figure out the score for the game? Yeah, good luck on that one. This is why you don't use analytics. You got to know the skill set. You got to know the players. I'm so sick of listening to some of these radio stations. They don't even know a player on the team, but they're just looking at the math, and they're making bets based on the math. Unbelievable. How much money do these idiots lose? Oh my God, I'd love to be their bookies. Fucking, I'd retire off these idiots. Okay, so that's the game. So we're avoiding the 4.7s, the 4.8. So we are learning. We are seeing, we start in the beginning, and we took averages, and we took wins and losses, and we took run rates. They scored 60 runs and gave up 50. Now we're down to 2 columns, bullpen ERA and batting average. And then we're looking at they score 100 runs and gave up 20. They're an A team. They score 100 runs and give up 100 runs, which we don't know if that's a over team or not. We're assuming, but we're really not looking at that. Now we've got it down to starting pitching, a little bit of batting average, but not too much, because who the hell knows? So it's all up to, is Verlander pitching, and is he going to throw a 2-hit shutout for 8 innings? That's what we're looking for. And who's hot? The Yankees hit. Boston's starting to hit now. So we're looking at teams that are getting hot. We're looking at streaks. Okay. So my picks for today: Baltimore under 7 units. Minnesota under 8, or Miami under 8.5, 3 units. Toronto under 7.5, 5 units. San Diego 3 units. Houston 7, and the Yankees 5. I mean, these are very tiny bets. And again, this is, I mean, if you look who I'm betting the Yankees. I'm betting the Baltimore under. Houston with one of their aces going. All of them are with the aces going. San Diego, Dylan Cease, and all these unders are 2 strong 2.0 ERA pitchers. That's the variable, the basis of the pick. Now, if you go to make the bet and you don't see these pitchers and it's somebody different, like Verlander yesterday, you don't bet it. you're only betting it because it's Dylan Cease. If it ain't Dylan Cease, you're not betting San Diego. If it's not the Baltimore and Philadelphia aces going, well, it's not Hunter, it's not Ranger Suarez, but it's the next Philly ace pitcher going. You don't bet it. But if the aces are going, you're taking averages for variables, and you're saying, okay, they should have two. They give up 2 runs a game. Over under is 7, 8, especially when the over under is 9, and you get these guys. I saw one where it was like 6.5, and the ironic part was it stayed under. I think it was the White Sox or somebody, and the over under was 6 or 6.5, and it was like a 3-1 game or 4-1 game. I think it was with the Miami. They're the worst teams. So you can bet against the worst teams, which are the White Sox and Miami, but they still win. That's why you got to go down to the pitchers. That's really where it's at. Verlander's going to win most of the time. Skubal should have won, but they don't win all the time. But if you keep betting them consistently, you bet them 10 times, you'll probably win 8 out of the 10. Now you're gonna give up, 175 for your dollar, but what else can you do? This is what you got, money line. You certainly can't play run line. Who the hell? What are you, crazy? So that's baseball for today. There's no basketballs tomorrow. Boston is minus 6.5 tomorrow. What do you do with it? In a must-win game 3, Dallas doesn't show up. And then it's already over game 4, Dallas wins by 30. So how do you win by 30 in a game when it's already over versus the game that you have to win it? Very, very surprising. Well, it's over. Boston's not trying, and then Dallas plays. So I don't know what you get in game 5. I think with 6.5, you can bet Dallas, but I mean, it's so inconsistent, and you don't know if the guy's going to try or not, Luca Brasi. So you're going to leave that alone. All right. So that is baseball today. We go to let's go to college football. I'm doing the AAC and the ACC. So we start with the ACC. So I look at the teams, and then we'll get into quarterbacks on the team and defense and coaches. Just an overview. We're not really getting into the games right now. We're just seeing who's good and bad based on my opinion, not this idiot. This idiot. All right, so we'll start. There's 17 teams in the ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference. Florida State, Clemson, Miami, Louisville, NC State, VTech, SMU's now on the Atlantic Coast, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, Cal is now on the Atlantic Coast, Syracuse, BC, Pitt, Duke, Wake Forest, Virginia, and Stanford's now on the East Coast. Why are Stanford and Cal? What happened to the Pac-10, and why would they not just join the Mountain West? Why would you want to make at least 6 trips all the way to the East Coast every? What is that? Does that make any sense? Go join the fucking Mountain West or the Big 12. What are you doing? We're doing it for money. Yeah, you'll suck though. You won't win anything. Then we go into the all ACC team per this idiot from Athlon Sports. This shows you how stupid this guy is, so you got to be careful. Cam Ward of Miami is the best quarterback in the league. Really? Wow. You've got to be fucking kidding me. At least he didn't put Oogly a Boogly, but Cam Ward is not the best. If Cam Ward's the best quarterback, if he's better than the SMU quarterback, you got to be fucking kidding me. Georgia Tech's quarterback's probably better. And then we got to see these others. But if it's that weak of a passing league, then this should be a lot of unders. He's got a running back from North Carolina and Miami. Damian Martinez, I believe, is from Oregon State. Jaden Ott from Cal is the best running back. Why is he all purpose? The guy's the best running back. What are you doing? Then a receiver from Miami, NC State, and Louisville. A tight end from Syracuse. Two linemen from Florida State. Who knows? Then the defense. It's pointless to read the names. We don't know who any of these players are. Florida State has a defensive lineman and a safety. Louisville, a defensive lineman and a cornerback. VTech, one guy. Miami has a defensive lineman and a linebacker. North Carolina has one guy. Clemson. Now, here's the key. Clemson only has one guy. They're playing Georgia first week. Do I play the game under? Well, judging by this, if I can judge by this, I only see one Clemson defense, a linebacker, who's on the freaking all ACC first team. That's not a very good defense. Clemson should have 5 or 6 guys on here. All right, so this guy is clueless. And then he gives top 10 recruits. How the fuck does this guy know? You don't know who the recruits are. If they're any good, they played high school ball. You don't know until college. All right, so we'll start. There's this pretty much in order. So we're going to go Boston College. Castellanos was there last year, average quarterback. The coach, Bill O'Brien from New England and Houston, and not very good. Career record of 15-9 for 2 years. He was a terrible NFL coach, assistant on New England. Tells me all I need to know. The guy probably blows. We'll read these final analysis because they're supposed to sum up everything. So their head coach, Jeff Hafley, went on to be the defensive coordinator of the Packers, did Boston College have a good defense? And so when I look at Boston College's scores last year, they gave up 28 to Holy Cross, 31 to Florida State, 56 to Louisville, 24 to Virginia, Army, Georgia Tech, 48 to VTech, 24 to Pitt, 45 to Miami. And this guy's going to be your defensive coordinator of the Packers. What are they thinking? Why would they think this guy who couldn't coach defense, you want him as your defensive coordinator? What are you saying? So look for Green Bay to be an over team. I don't think their defense is going to get any better. If not, more confused, because now you got this guy putting in his 2 cents. You've got all these players. You got a couple of Georgia players. What are you thinking? What are you thinking with this coach? I don't buy it. Let's look at their schedule. They open against Florida State with Oogly a Boogly as the only chance. They're at Missouri. Good luck. They got Louisville, at SMU. That's about it. So pretty easy schedule. The ACC really doesn't have anybody scaring because Florida State doesn't have a quarterback. Clemson's kind of weak. And Miami's certainly weak. Terrible coaching. Louisville, maybe they're okay. We'll have to see. All right. Next is Cal. Fernando Mendoza was their quarterback last year. Fairly good. They got 7 back on offense, 8 on defense. Boston College has 7 offense and 5 defense. Final analysis. The Bears closed out a century. Cal now must adapt to the ACC on the opposite coast. Cal, which has often been good defensively under Wilcox, needs a return to form. The offense, 2 capable quarterbacks and a star running back in Ott. I love Ott. So Cal should be a good offensive team, although Wilcox is a pretty good defensive coach. Let's see. So they gave up. Okay, so here you go. This is a Pac-10 schedule last year. Washington put up 59 on them. Oregon State 52, Utah 34 without Cam Rising. USC, They lost to USC 50-49. They gave up 63 to Oregon. Washington State 39, although they did beat them in 34 to Texas Tech in the bowl game. So very weak defense, but you don't have the offenses here. So Cal could be pretty competitive here. Let's look at their schedule. They're at Auburn, at Florida State, home against Miami, home against Oregon State. What are they doing on the schedule? And Stanford's their rivalry game, and at SMU. Looks pretty easy. See, and the funny part is when you look at the Big Ten and the SEC schedules that we looked at, what did you see? Oh, LSU, they got to play Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, A&M. I mean, here you're like, oh, they got to play Florida State, Miami, and SMU. I mean, it's a totally – this is what's screwy about college football. The Big Ten, you got Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington. All right, SEC's Oklahoma, Texas. Maybe Oklahoma's good. Georgia, LSU, Alabama. Maybe Tennessee, Kentucky are decent. Maybe Penn State and USC are decent. So you have 5, 6 strong teams in these conferences, and you get here and there's nobody. Florida State, no quarterback. Miami, no coach. I ain't scared of Pitt or NC State and Wake or Stanford. SMU, maybe. So maybe SMU is the best team in the league. But look at the difference in schedules. So Cal posts a better record than, say, LSU because they played nobody. They'll make it into the playoff, and you got the Detroit Lions. You play nobody, and you get in with a bad record, with a good record against bad teams. And that's the problem with it. All right. Clemson. Cade Klubnik is back. They got 8 on offense, only 2 on defense. So how the fuck are they going to play Georgia with 2 guys back on defense? They got a sophomore, a freshman, and 3 more sophomores. So 3, 5, 6 sophomores and a freshman. And you're gonna handle Georgia? I think I love Georgia now. All right. Final analysis. Absolutely a waste of time, these analysis. See, absolutely, they don't tell you anything. Just some bullshit opinion. All right, so we're going to start reading them. All right, their schedule. They start with Georgia in Atlanta on the Mercedes-Benz thing. They got App State, who we know is usually a good team. At Florida State, who is good except for their quarterback. I like the coach. Louisville, and that's it. So 2 or 3 hard games. 8 back on offense, 2 on defense. Dabo Swinney we know he's been there a while. Cal's coach, Justin Wilcox, I'm sorry. He's 36-43, but he's a very good coach. He's just when you're facing Oregon, Washington, Utah, you're not going to win that much. But here he should do much better. So look for Cal as a sleeper. Same coach for Clemson. Duke's got a new coach, Manny Diaz, 21-15 record. He's a defensive coach at Texas or Clemson or wherever the hell he went to. Not a real head coach. This is the problem. You get these guys as defensive coordinators. They're not really head coaches. All right. We got Malik Murphy, who I have heard from. I think he took over when Riley Leonard got hurt those couple of games. Oh, no, he's a former Texas quarterback. All right, but he's not a very good Texas quarterback. And I'm not going to read all the NILs because the reason you transfer is because you suck and you got beat out. So really, are you getting a good player? I doubt it. Yeah, their defense looks weak. So Malik Murphy is a sophomore, Probably a helter-skelter running type of quarterback. They got 5 guys back on offense, 3 on defense. New coach. Let's look at their schedule. Well, they got an easy one. They open with Northwestern and Connecticut at Middle Tennessee. Are they doing an ACC or a Mountain or a Sun Belt schedule? North Carolina, Georgia Tech, Florida State, SMU, Miami, NC State. That gets pretty rough for the ACC. That's pretty good. They'll be lucky to win any of those games. I don't look at Manny Diaz. Who's he? Florida State. Gotta like Florida State. DJ Uiagalelei, we know he's terrible. They got 4 back on offense, 4 on defense. Mike Norvell, great coach, 31-17. He's been there 4 years. Career record 69. I think he came from Nevada or somewhere where he was very good. They have a big problem at their defense. They only got 4 back, and their quarterback sucks. They open against Georgia Tech, and then they got Cal at SMU, and Clemson. At Duke sucks, at Miami sucks, and they got Notre Dame, and then they end with Florida. So Georgia Tech's fairly good. SMU, very explosive. Clemson, and then at Miami, and then Notre Dame and Florida. So who knows? Notre Dame, I don't like their coach, and they need their quarterback, Riley Leonard, was okay at Duke, but their offensive coordinator sucked, but he left. I don't remember where he went. But again, I like the coach Norvell. I think they'll be a little bit pissed after getting overlooked for the bowl. So keep that in mind in the back pocket. The problem is they got Uiagalelei. Their backup is Brock Glenn, a freshman. Probably very good. Uiagalelei, I give him 2 or 3 games, and then he'll be done. And then this Brock Glenn, we'll see how good he is. All right, Georgia Tech. Excellent coach, Brett Key. 11-10, but he had some big wins. Haynes King, good quarterback. 8 back offense, 4 defense. They're a very good offensive team. They open with Florida State, and then they got North Carolina, Notre Dame, Miami, we don't know, and they close at Georgia. They played Georgia tough last year. They lost 31-23 in that game. I remember I think they scored a late touchdown on a really trick play that I was like, wow, that was a nice play. So Georgia Tech's getting better. I know they suck because the guy kept running the wishbone and, worked it in the beginning and then it didn't work and all the passing. And so they switched coaches and the next coach sucked. This coach looks pretty good. I like the way he beat Miami, getting the fumble when the guy was already on the ground and then the Hail Mary and the defense fell down. I mean, it was I don't know, but I do like the quarterbacks. So Brent Key, he's okay as a coach. I don't mind him. They're a good middle of the road team. Not a top 10 team, but in the middle 20s. Next, we have Louisville. We have a new quarterback. Tyler Shaw was the quarterback at Texas Tech. Pretty good one. They got 4 back on offense and 7 on defense. And again, you're dealing with the NIL, so you're getting experienced players. They're just not very good. Jeff Brom, very good coach, 10-4 last year. 76-48. He was good at Louisville. He goes to Purdue and he sucked because he couldn't handle Ohio State, Michigan, and those guys. Penn State. Then he's back at Louisville in a lower conference with less stud teams. So let's see. What did he lose? He lost to Pitt 38-21, loses to Kentucky, Florida State, and did he play? He beat Notre Dame, but he avoided Florida State. No, they lost to Florida State 16-6 when Florida State didn't have their quarterback, right? He had the broken leg already. Look at this year's schedule. They get Georgia Tech, at Notre Dame, and SMU, so 3 tough games. Miami, and then at Clemson will be tough, and at Kentucky. So pretty easy schedule. They'll be explosive. He's a good offensive mind. I don't know. They were an A team last. They had a good defense, but Miami put up 31 on them, and Kentucky put up 38 on them, and Virginia 24. So they had a pretty good defense against weak teams. Notre Dame 20, and that was the offensive coordinator's fault for not letting Hartman, run this. That's why Hartman didn't get drafted. They're going, well, Hartman's not that good. Yeah, watch him at Wake Forest with a real offensive coordinator. All right, Miami. Oh my God, Cam Ward sucks. 5 back on offense, 5 on defense. You lost Tyler Van Dyke because you guys are terrible. Worst coaching. Cristobal. Record at the school, 12-13 in 2 years. Career record, 74-73. Was at Oregon. He sucked there. Look at the difference of Oregon when he was there and now. And I don't see Miami doing shit. They're nothing. If you think Cam Ward's the answer, you're out of your mind. 5-5 offense, defense. Look at the schedule. They at Florida. They get VTech at Cal. Well, there you go. I got to fly all the way to Cal to play in conference. It's crazy. And then you go at Louisville, and then you got Florida State, and then Georgia Tech. Not too hard of a schedule. The Florida game will be interesting because we got to see how good or bad Florida is. All right, North Carolina. Obviously, new quarterback because their wonderful guy from last year. I can't think of Drake May. Now they got Connor Harrell, a sophomore. They'll probably say how good he is. I like their backup, Max Johnson. I think it was at Texas A&M or Arkansas, one of those. So he's better than Harrell. 4 offense, 7 defense back. Their coach, Mac Brown, 107-73, never wins a big one. He only won it with Vince Young running the ball. Let's look at their offense. This kid's not that good, the quarterback. All right. Their schedule. At Minnesota, James Madison can beat them. At Duke, Georgia Tech, at Florida State. And then they finish with NC State. They should finish against Duke. That's their road. North Carolina Duke is the rivalry. I don't know what you got here. You got a mess. The quarterback's not very good. They do have a good running back, so maybe they'll run more, which tends to be an under. NC State. Grayson McCall, my man from Coastal Carolina. Great quarterback. So I'm surprised he didn't go to North Carolina or Louisville. Why he ended up here. They don't have the offense that the other two does. 5-back offense, 3-back defense. Head coach Dave Doran, 81-58 in 11 years, so it's stable. Let's look at their schedule. They got Tennessee September 7th, should be a good game. At Clemson, Cal and Stanford and Duke, and then at Georgia Tech and at North Carolina. So you got Tennessee and you got Clemson. That's it. Very weak schedule. Georgia Tech might give them problems, but otherwise, another case of they'll have a good record, but they didn't play anybody. So we'll see. We know McCall is very good. So let's look, but they're usually a very strong defensive team. So with McCall in the defense, they could be outstanding. The question with McCall is was his offensive coordinator, or is he that good? I think he's that good. I mean, the do what he did at Coastal Carolina, but they had a really good coach, and he really had a good offense. So we will see there. It takes a half hour to go through the conference because there's 17 teams. It's insane. All right, Pitt, Nate Yarnell, never heard of him. 7-back offense, 2 defense. Coach Narduzzi from Michigan State, 65 and 50. What's he doing? He blew it. He should have went back to Michigan State, but now they got the Oregon State coach, so he's fucked. So I don't know who this quarterback is. We'll keep an eye on him. 24 schedule at Cincy. They got a West Virginia, at North Carolina, at SMU, a Clemson, and an at Louisville. So they'll be lucky to go 500, Pitt. They're a nothing team. SMU, Preston Stone, excellent quarterback. Shocked he stayed there, but I'm glad he did. So SMU is always an over team. They always score a lot. Last year, they became more of an A team. They had a pretty good defense. They gave up 34 to TCU and 34 to Memphis, who are both pretty explosive teams. And that was it. They actually, they gave up 10 to Tulsa, and 21 to North Texas was pretty good, and 14 to my Navy team. So they had a pretty good defense last year. Rhett Lashley, a very good offensive mind as their coach, and that, so it's a good over team. He's 18-9 in 2 years. Their schedule this year, they got TCU, they got Florida State and Louisville, and that's it. So they got a really easy schedule to win a lot of games. And again, Preston Stone's a very good quarterback. Stanford, Ashton Daniels blows. They got 9 back on offense and 7 on defense. So these players are so bad they couldn't do the transfer portal. Nobody wanted them. That's how bad Stanford players are. They were 3-9 in the Pac-10, including losing to USC 56-10, beating Colorado 46-43. Washington beat them 42-33. Oregon State 62-17. Notre Dame 56-23. Oregon 42-6. This is a great team against any type of team with talent. The coach, Troy Taylor, is 3-9, 33-17. I don't know where they got this coach from. He's also their offensive coordinator. Wow, their offense looked really good last year. Holy shit. They scored 10 on USC, 6 on Oregon, 7 on UCLA, 10 on Washington State. This is a great offensive coordinator, the coach. Well, they got 23 on Notre Dame in the 56-23 loss. Stanford's the team you look for to bet against, right? We want Z teams. We got Notre Dame. Let's bet. Oh, it's Stanford. Oh, we're going to score. That's the beauty of college football, finding the Z teams. You got a good quarterback. They need the game, and they're going to blow them out. That's what you're looking for. So not only are you looking for the A teams, right? Oregon State, Oregon, Washington, Utah, but you're looking for the weak-ass teams like Stanford and Pitt and Miami to bet against and clean up on. Stanford. So Troy Taylor, 3-9. Somehow he's 33-17. I don't know where he's from before, but I don't really care. Let's see. They open with TCU. They've got at Clemson. They're at Notre Dame. They're home against SMU. At NC State. At home against Louisville. At Cal, which is their rivalry. So look, they're going to have a tough time winning through. They'll win Cal Poly and maybe Wake Forest. I don't even think they'll beat San Jose State the last week. This is a pretty bad team. But the final analysis, Stanford has improved in all of the places it needed to. Oh, really? But the team still sucks. The color and the hoping for improvement stage. What kind of fucking analysis is it? They should already be able to make a push for a bowl game. They will have tons of players to be excited about in the future. Okay, yeah, whatever that bullshit I just read was. That's why I don't read the analysis or like the offense and defense. I got to see the results because if you start reading what this idiot thinks, who thinks Ward is the best quarterback in this group, so you're telling me Ward's better than the SMU quarterback? Really? I get he's better than Buglia and Clemson's guy because they're just not there. But he ain't better than the SMU guy by a mile. I'll take the SMU guy. And the Cal guy is better than Ward. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. All right. Syracuse, Fran Brown, record at school first season, career record first season. So I got a new coach who's never coached before. Man, they don't talk about him. They're all excited they got the Ohio State quarterback that sucked last year. He's so good that Will Howard came in and beat him out. So the Ohio State quarterback nobody else wanted goes to Syracuse, and they're all excited that he landed the Ohio State quarterback that sucks. Okay. The McCord's terrible. They got 8 back on offense. Well, 9 if you count McCord, 5 on defense. See, that's the problem. McCord he played at Ohio State, but they don't call him like they say they got 8 on offense, but not McCord. Well, no, include the quarterbacks, 9. You want who has talent, not they got 3 guys and then they got 6 on the NIL and they really got a whole defense. So 8-5, which is totally meaningless. Coach Fran Brown, like first season, and let's look. So Syracuse, Georgia Tech, second week. They're at Vegas, who's actually fairly good. NC State, at Cal, they got nothing. This is a very easy schedule, but I don't think they can beat Georgia Tech, Vegas, NC State. At Cal will be a problem. So the Ohio State quarterback ain't going to help him. All right, we're still there. Virginia, Anthony Calandra is the quarterback. Never heard of him. He started 6 games and never heard of him. They got 5 back offense, 8 defense. Tony Elliott record at school 6-16 in 2 years. Whip-de-doo. Let's look at their schedule. They got Wake Forest and Maryland, and then they got Louisville at Clemson, at Notre Dame and SMU. So they'll be lucky to win anything. VTech, Chiron Drones, I have heard of is their quarterback. He's from Baylor. Okay, big deal. Coach Brett Pry, record at school 10-14. So not a very good coach, not a very good quarterback. 11 back on offense, 8 on defense. Okay. Look at their schedule. They got Marshall, who was pretty good last year. I don't know what they are this year. Old D at Miami, Georgia Tech, Clemson, and at Duke. It's pretty sad when like you're like Georgia Tech's the big game here in the conference. At Miami, Georgia Tech, Clemson. I mean, what a pathetic conference. Oh, my God. Last but not least, Wake Forest. They do have a good coach. Dave Clawson is 63-61. For 10 years at Wake is a good coach. I know. All right. Hank Bachenmeyer sucks. He was at Boise. He sucked. He transferred. He sucked wherever he went. This is a terrible quarterback. Don't look for a lot of points from Wake. 5 back offense, 6 defense. We read Clausen's quarterback stinks. Schedule. Uh, Old Miss, September 14th. Lou Lafayette probably beats them at NC State, and then Clemson, and then Cal, and then at North Carolina and at Miami, which are average teams. So look for Wake to suck. And then the AAC, oh my God, 14 teams in the AAC. Let's take a break and then we'll get back to it because I can't see anymore. So a quick talk about bricks and comex. Based on our Mark McGuire Friday, that the bricks is planning on officially rolling it out in the October summit in Kazan, Russia, where there's now like 30 or 40 countries joining BRICS. They'll roll out the gold-backed currency. They say China and India were against it, but publicly, but privately, no, they are all for it. Because I don't know, I mean, you realize that the only answer out of this mess is gold and or silver and not the dollar. And so privately, they're all for the gold-backed currency, which is October. We're almost in July, August, September, so 3 more months. The derivatives are blowing up, or the options of keeping the price of gold down. It's not open on the weekend, so it's still 23.33. I would expect it to start running out of options, put options, to lower the price. They're getting very thin on the gold, and it's being bought up by the Chinese and everybody. So look for that to start slowing down. But you got to understand that's why the gold price and silver price go down. It's from options. It has nothing to do with supply and demand or free market economic. Nobody's selling their gold and silver. Everybody's buying. All the central banks are buying gold, and they'll be buying silver. The entire billions of people in China are now buying silver. They bought gold, but gold got expensive. I think it's an either or. So some of the poor people can't afford the gold, are buying silver, and others are buying gold and silver, which means demand's there, which means prices up. So yesterday, I got my check. So I got the check for the trust. I don't know if it came Friday or yesterday, but it was there. So I went and bought another 1/4 ounce maple leaf. You can see it says 1/4 ounce on the bottom. And this was $6.41. The American was $6.70. The only thing I had with him was his half ounce US was $13.77. But the half ounce maple leaf was $12.77. It's a half ounce. I said to him, your half ounce US Eagle price is way too high. I'm seeing it on eBay for $12.70, $12.80. I go, that's a $2,700 ounce, but your ounce is $24.40, $24.50. So I really didn't understand his half ounce. It's way too high. He says, but it sells. And I go, but I ain't going to buy it. I'll buy more quarters. But since he had a maple leaf 1/4, fine. So I'm expecting more money out of the trust, which I'll be back at the gold. And then I got an email about the job as I was teaching yesterday. So when I initially interviewed with the VP, they had 2 positions open. So I interviewed with him, I interviewed with the CFO, I interviewed with the hiring manager. Now all of a sudden he says, well, the other side wants to interview the other director of finance. Hey, Greg or John. Don't know. So he's the director wants to interview me. And here's where I'm psychic. So at first I thought, oh, did I not get the other job? And then I realized, well, no, they must like me to then send me to this other guy. So now they're fighting over me. I love it. So I got the first group wanting me, but they want to interview with both, and then both groups will figure out which is best for me. So I feel really good with that. The trust, all of a sudden, I'm looking at some probably some decent money out of that, and that's where it's at. So it was a big day yesterday with good news on the job and good news on the with the trust. I mean, I got it. So I was just okay. Now I'm the type that wait till I get it. Okay, I got the job or I got the trust. Okay, now let's move. So I got the trust, bought the gold, and now I should have the job. Now I can buy more gold, and then I get the trust. Should be in a month or two. They got to go to court and settle out whatever it is, and there's unclaimed property, which means that's more good news. And then we will see what I get, and that'll be fine. So that's really good news there. And so, like I said, I bought some gold, and then depending on what I get for the trust, should be some decent money, and then the job. I got two people fighting over me. That's great news. I don't know who this is. All right. So I have no idea. I mean, these WhatsApp calls, somebody never heard of them, probably a scam. So I just ignore it. See, those to me are scams. Daria, I'm not thinking scamming me. She might be, but I don't think it. It's too much talk, uh, too much personal stuff that it's a scam. I don't buy it. Anyway, so things are really, hopefully I'll have a job soon. I think probably after July 5th. And so I want to go on vacation. Um, I'll have to check the thing. And I'm waiting for Daria to say, yeah, my mom's coming in to watch the daughter, but I'm not getting an answer. So I don't, what I don't want is to plan one with Jenna. And then Daria says, yeah, we can go. My mom's coming in for the week because I'd have to go with her because the mom's flying in. I can't do that to the mother where she pays for the ticket. And then I say, oh, I can't make it. So I'm kind of seeing, but Jenna's more free. If I get the job, then I'll just tell them I got a week vacation. So we will see. But my thought is that right after July 4th, I'll probably start. I don't know which job I'll get, but I got an interview on Tuesday from 11 to 12. And I'm not sure if it's on Teams again or there's an office close to me if I just go in the office. So we will see. Anyway, so that was good news. And that's it. So I was happy to get the check. I'll go to the bank Monday, not a problem. And then wait for the remainder of the trust to pay me out. So excited for the gold. Just keep buying it. There's never enough, and if you get money in, you really don't want to leave it in money. So I don't want a lot of money in this. I want all my money in that. I want to get off the Titanic. So if the trust gives me a lot of this, again, I want to get off the Titanic and onto here or silver. I got a lot of silver. So that's where I'm headed, is to get more gold with the trust. And then if I get the job, which looks very positive, that they obviously like me to meet the other guy, and then they're going to fight over me. That's a pretty good sign. And so I'm very happy about that. I don't know why they can't give you feedback and tell you what's going on, but out of the blue, they're like, "Oh yeah, the other guy wants to interview you," so they'll determine which job you get. Well, that's a whole lot better than, well, sorry, you'll interview and you get nothing. So we will see. Um, who's winning in the next NBA? Like I said, I don't know if Luca Brasi's going to play or not. He didn't play in game 3, and then he played his normal game 4. So is he going to fix it or not? It's really hard. I don't know. Dallas needed to win game 3 and didn't win it. And then game 4, it's already over. It's 3-0. You're down. And then they win a game that Boston probably figured they won. So probably Boston wins. They're laying 6.5. If you like Dallas in 6.5, I don't really know. Normally, Dallas should have won game 3 and game 4. Then we would be betting Boston tomorrow. But the 6.5, Boston's won by 7 and 2 blowouts. So I don't know. It'd be hard to bet against Boston. I think they want to close it out, and Luca Brasi just doesn't look that good. So he bets on Boston too. So if you figure out who Luca Brasi is betting on, that'll teach you. But I really don't know. I'm only going by the psychology, and the psychology told me they had to win game 3 and they lost. Then they win game 4. All right, at that point, it's not do or die anymore. They're just trying to win a game, and now Boston wants to probably wrap it up. So probably Boston wins, but I don't know. I'm not betting on it. It's not worth it. All right, the AAC. This is 14 fucking teams. We got Memphis, my UTSA team, who I love, South Florida, Tulane, who was very good last year, my Army team, Rice, who was good, Florida Atlantic, East Carr, North Texas, who was explosive, Navy, UAB, Tulsa, Charlotte, and Temple, who sucks. So we got Army and Navy. Army's usually not in the conference. Their best player, now this I kind of agree with more, Seth Hennigan, the quarterback for Memphis. Okay, him I'll take, and that's it. Excuse me. I will be right back. My apologies. I am back. We're going to listen to Mark McGuire talk about bricks. When I am done. Okay. So Memphis has the quarterback and a couple of receivers. Look for them. They're usually a pretty explosive team. And let's get going. Army. Well, you don't know with Army's quarterback because they run the ball, although they are trying to be more passing. Bryson Daly, he was pretty good for them. I love their coach, Jeff Monken, is 70-55 at Army. Very good coach. We'll see what happens in this league. Although they do play a lot of passing teams. They beat UTSA. LSU beat them 62-0. They beat the Air Force 23-3, Coastal Carolina, and beat the Navy. So they're pretty good, but we'll see. So good coach, quarterback's fine. They always have a good team because of the coach, right? Their schedule, they got Florida Atlantic and Rice, who's pretty good, and Air Force, who's always good. They got Notre Dame and UTSA, and of course Navy. So we'll see what we get out of them. They're usually a pretty good team. Charlotte kind of blows. Biff Poggi, 3-9 his first year. This guy sucks. Look for Charlotte to be bad. Max Brown, he's a quarterback. I've heard of him. Florida transfer quarterback Max Brown. Brown was 19-28 for 106 appearances for the Gators last year. How bad is this quarterback? He goes from Florida to Charlotte. This guy must just suck. You don't know. He's a sophomore. He was a freshman. We'll see. Coach sucks. Their offense sucks. Let's look at their schedule. James Madison. They got North Carolina, at the Navy, at Memphis. So it's a whole. They're not playing Oklahoma, Texas, LSU, and Alabama. East Carolina, 2-10 last year. Jake Garcia, and let's see, name. From Missouri, but he's the backup. And Michigan State's guy, Caton Hauser, never heard of him. Was at Michigan State, and I never heard of him. So a pretty weak team. We'll see how they go. Let's look at their schedule. Their coach, Mike Houston, record at the school is 24-34 in 5 years. At Liberty, who's a pretty good team, UTSA. So it's hard to really look at the schedules like we look at in the other conferences. Florida Atlantic, Cameron Fancher is the quarterback. I've heard of him. Used to be a Marshall starter. So again, it really doesn't mean much. Tom Herman was the Ohio State coach or the Texas coach, or both. Like it was a Ohio State defensive coordinator. Texas record at school 4-8 the first year, 58-30 for 7 years. So maybe they'll be decent. They go to Michigan State. Wow, they play Michigan State the first week, then the Army. UTSA, that's about it. So we will see. Again, it's hard to really. You just got to watch them the first few games. There's not enough. They're just a lousy team. Memphis is the class of the league. Seth again, good quarterback. Ryan Silverfield is 31-19 in 4 years here. They got Troy. Oh, they're at Florida State. Wow, Memphis goes to Florida State. Got my Navy, UTSA. So this is interesting. They're playing at Florida State. They win there, they'll be in the playoffs because there's really nothing left. Troy and Navy, but very interesting. Navy Blake Horde. Now he was their quarterback last year. Coach Brian Newberry is 5-7. He coached his first year last year. We look at their schedule. They get Memphis, they get Air Force, they get Notre Dame. Holy shit. And the Army. Tough schedule for the Navy. North Texas. Stone Earl is their quarterback. They are a very explosive team. They lost its starting quarterback, Chandler Rogers, to the transfer portal. I wonder where he went. Oh, okay. Chandler Morris is from TCU, and Stone Earl was their backup last year, but on a very explosive team. So this is very interesting. We look at they play Texas Tech, Memphis, Army, UTSA. Pretty easy schedule. We'll see, but they were very explosive last year. So we'll see if they kept it. Their coach is back, so look for another over team. Rice, E.J. Warner, and A.J. Patchett, I think I know. NFL draft pick Luke McCaffrey, a wide receiver, and Christian Young. Your brother is a noticeable departure. Okay, so Luke McCaffrey. I thought they had a quarterback, too. He went to Michigan. The Owls managed to sign former Temple quarterback. Oh, big deal. Oh, they're signing Temple quarterback. He is Kurt Warner's son. E.J. Warner went to Temple. So the guy, you get your Kurt Warner's son, you go to Temple, and now you're at Rice. All right. This will be very interesting. What do they do with Kurt Warner's kid? Their schedule, they got Houston and the Army and UTSA and Memphis. We got to see UTSA if they're any good. This is Mike Bloomberg, record at school 22-46. They were pretty good last year. If they get a good quarterback, they're a pretty good team. So we'll see. South Florida, Byram Brown as quarterback. I think this guy was terrible. We'll take head coach Alex Golas, record at 7-6 his first year. Their second game's at Alabama. Then they get Miami, Memphis, Navy. What the fuck are they? Why would you schedule Alabama for? Holy shit. So we'll get more into that as we start getting this. So this is basically, we'll get more into it 2 or 3 games in, and we'll see how good they are. And again, see, this is the problem. They open with Bethune-Cookman. We're not going to get any data on. And then Alabama, which you really, unless it's close, if they lose 63-0, you're not getting data there until then Southern Miss and Miami. So it's going to take you 4 games to figure out South Florida. They've been crappy for years since they lost my guy, my quarterback, Flowers. He was great. So really hard to say what to expect with them. Alex Golas, 7-6 is the coach. I don't know. Temple, they suck. Forrest Brock is a senior. And they lost Kurt Warner, so I don't blame him for leaving. Forrest Brock and Rutgers transfer Evan Simon. Yeah, so Temple's going to probably suck again this year. Stan Drayton's the coach. Record at the school 6-18 in 2 years. Oh my God. Oh, they opened with Oklahoma, then the Navy, Coastal Carolina, then the Army, and then maybe UTSA. So not much of a schedule. Tulane was very good last year, but they lose their quarterback. Ty Thompson's a junior. Kay Horton, I've heard of. So they're going to be in trouble. Their coach, John Sumrall, first season at the school. He's 23-4 in 2 years. Where did he come from? Oh, he's from Troy. Yeah, Troy had some pretty good teams. So Willie Fritz, who was at Georgia Southern, went to Tulane. They're a top 10 teams now at Houston, I believe. And look out for them. He's a good coach. And then here comes the Troy coach. So now they'll be Troy. So pretty good team. And they were pretty good. So let's see. They got Kansas State, Oklahoma. Holy shit. Lou Lafayette. And then really Navy, and they close in Memphis. So look for Tulane, Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Lou Lafayette. It'd be interesting. Tulsa, usually an over team. Kirk Francis, freshman quarterback. Beware. Kevin Wilson's their coach. Was 4-8 last year. And let's see, they got Oklahoma State, and then they got Army, UTSA. That's about it. So we'll see. They could be all right, but now with the freshman quarterback, you can't trust them. UAB, Jacob Zeno. Now he was the quarterback. So he's a pretty good quarterback. So pretty good quarterback for UAB. Coach Trent Dilfer, we all know him from the NFL. Record 4-8. Is he a good coach? He might be a good offensive coordinator or a good quarterback coach, but is he a good head coach? 4-8 at UAB. They got Arkansas, the Army, Memphis. That's it. Pretty easy schedule. UTSA, new quarterback, Owen McCown. Who the hell knows? Jeff Traylor's the coach, 39-14. Good coach. We'll see what happens. They open with Kennesaw State, who's actually now Division I. They go at Texas. Jesus. At Texas, September 14th. And did they play them last year? No, they didn't. They played Houston and lost to Closey. They played Tennessee. Lost 45-14. So this year they at Texas, and they got Memphis and at the Army. So it's hard to look at this schedule after you look at the SEC and the Big Ten schedules with Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, Oregon, and Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas. So they got Memphis. That's their big game. So those are those two conferences. Again, Memphis looks like the best team there. In the ACC, the best coach is Florida State's Clemson. As their quarterback back, we got to see about their defense. And we're going to see that against Georgia. Georgia's the best team in the country again. We'll see how it shakes out with Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, and then Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, UCLA, Penn State. We'll see if this defensive coordinator from UCLA went to USC. Are they going to have the UCLA defense? I doubt it. It's not that simple. You have to have talent. You have to have players that want to hit and play good defense. I don't know if you got that. Anyway, so that's your two college football. I think that's enough to go through. So I'm trying to keep it just at a high level. Here's the quarterback. Here's the coach. Here's some schedules to look at, but we'll get to that as we go. Okay, Mark McGuire. And we're going to look at his BRICS comments.
This is the unseen mammoth in the room, and it's about to start to trample.
They now have to keep renting while we crash.
We've got this ticking time.
Unquote. Not seeing it today, you're seeing unquote. Not seeing it today, you're seeing uncertainty of FOMC being gained.
Andrew, can you update us on any new developments relating to the BRICS gold-backed currency? We've got a lot of questions coming in from our community members about this.
Yes, Shane. Following what we recently reported on the successful conclusion of the beta testing of Glasnev's 40 to 45% physically backed blockchain currency, which very loosely takes the form of the unit linked here. But it's actually adjusted to ensure that it is going to be ring-fenced outside of Western influence. And coming off last week's St. Petersburg Economic Forum, engaging the direct participation of the president of the BRICS New Development Bank, Dilma Rousseff, the final agreed structure will be agreed fully in September at the New Development Bank meeting in Shanghai for the formal launch, really ahead of the formal launch of the Kazan BRICS Summit in October. The currency is scheduled to be launched ahead of the US elections, and this imminent timeline has accelerated BRICS central bank gold buying. So reports you hear of China central bank no longer buying gold, it's what they officially report. Of course, they don't want to be seen to be buying, but you cannot hide what they're doing from a monetary gold perspective, which is completely unreported. So really, these de-dollarizing moves have just not gone unnoticed by Western central banks operating under the BIS umbrella. They're not stupid. And while the BIS has been working on a central bank digital currency stablecoin since way back 2021, they'd assumed the proposed BRICS currency would take the form of just an SDR-like FX currency, incorporating a blend of largely emerging market currencies. Now, due to these inherent trade imbalances, they figured a viable BRICS non-dollar denominated currency was at a minimum 5 years away, providing time for the BIS to create the central bank digital currency that would absorb and control these non-dollar based currencies. Now, they're not banked on Glasnev's option 2, which is a polycentric gold and hard commodity-backed currency being developed and tested in such short order, completely underestimating the progress timelines as they now wake up to an unfactored hegemonic threat to the Western central banks, bringing forward really the BIS efforts to get in the act by issuing a CBDC, which will be partly backed by gold. Now, we looked at this BIS proposal when it was first proposed back in October 2022. And you can see here, and as we assessed at the time, it was no coincidence that this was the exact moment when the BIS concluded the squaring and buying back and de-risking the decades-old 500 to 700 tons of high counterparty risk derivative bets. Now, we drew particular attention to this notable event just before gold was revalued by the BIS as a first-year asset class on the 1st of January 2023. Now, this was the exact moment when the BIS and its European-facing central banks diverged from the Fed's mandate of suppressing FX gold against the dollar. In fact, we noted at the time every single central bank except the Fed went long gold. Over the 2 years, this so-called Enbridge central bank digital currency has been tested. On Wednesday, June the 5th, it formally reached the minimum viable product stage, inviting further international participation. Now, Project Enbridge is the result of collaboration between the Bank of International Settlements, the Bank of Thailand, the Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates, Digital Currency Institute of the People's Bank of China, Hong Kong Monetary Authority, Saudi Central Bank. But there are also more than 26 observing members. Some of them are Western-based. Now, Project M-Bridge is now inviting private sector firms to propose new solutions and use cases that help develop the platform and showcase all its potential interested firms, and all the potential interested firms have been invited to apply to participate. This is a bit of Band-Aid. This is, whatever way you look at it, this is a central bank digital currency. And while the BIS-backed currency seeks to support the use of local currency, it ultimately provides the bridge into a largely renminbi-backed alternate currency. Now, we see this as an interim bridge, which is geared to be adopted by Western central banks. And in fact, to be a short-term, it might be short-term helpful in underpinning the percentage of gold that is ultimately agreed to back the stablecoin. But, and this is a huge but, it has a serious flaw. It does not escape the increasing range of weaponized US sanctions against the major Sino-Russian alliance, which would deeply affect the BRICS members. Now, the only viable solution to provide a growing number of BRICS nations a sanction-proof means of exchange is Glassjare's fully beta-tested currency, which will be formally launched in October at the BRICS summit. So in the meantime, we will continue to evidence central banks, first-tier bullion banks, divesting treasuries alongside buying gold in anticipation that a gold-backed currency is going to emerge in one form or another. And this will provide a tailwind for safe haven gold and silver. Well, really, what are these episodes about? It's really, we're trying to provide a look under the covers so that you can dig beneath the smoke and mirrors generated action. It helps to provide some clarity so you can weigh the wholesale market view against the short-term chart-painted synthetic action, which I hope will enable you to make better gold and silver wealth protection choices. It's not just about making money here. This is about wealth protection. And actually, and this is where I always defer to Robert Kiyosaki's question.
Hate that guy. So what that means in English is they're going to a gold standard, which means they're going to back their dollars by gold. Some point, 40, 50% is fine. As long as there's some gold backing the dollar, which will make the demand for dollars for gold go up and the demand for dollars go down, because you don't want to own dollars anymore. You want to own gold. The demand for gold goes up, the price of gold goes up. So these derivatives that they're playing with are ending, at least in gold. Silver's still a little bit away. So don't get frustrated. Why isn't silver going up? But I ran into a guy outside the store yesterday and we talked a little bit. He says, I just keep buying silver and silver. And I go, you should buy some gold, because gold goes up $100 where silver goes up 50 cents. So I said, silver will go up, but it's going to be a while. And gold's probably the thing to buy if you can afford it. And I said to him, well, look, he says, well, I don't have 2,500 for an ounce. I says, well, this cost me $640 Maple Leaf. It was $670, I think, for US. And so I said to him, just buy quarter ounces or tenth of an ounces. Just buy some gold and let it go up for you. The other thing I saw, which I wanted to show you guys, so I saw these yesterday. I've never seen them before. These are tenth of an ounce silver and quarter of an ounce silver. So you can see the quarter of an ounce was $8.50, which is really just the $32 divided by the $8.50. And this is 1/10, but $3.50 is really 35. But the ounce of silver is 32. And this should be $8.50 is 17, is $34. And again, you can buy the ounce. I wouldn't waste my time with these. These are assuming a barter system, but I just assume use the ounce of silver that I have for the barter system. So let's say silver goes to, let's say silver goes to, I don't know, $1,000 an ounce, right? So the tenth of an ounces are going to be 100, and the quarter ounce are going to be 250. How does that help you versus the ounce, right? So I just assume buy the ounce now because it's at 30. I think it was $31 yesterday. So for only the 31 versus 850 or 350, you can see you're getting a huge discount on buying the ounce. Like I said, if I buy four quarter ounces, it's $34, and I can pay 31 for the ounce, or 35 for the tenth of an ounce, and I can pay 31 for the ounce. Well, I can pay the 31 for the ounce. That's easy. That's not expensive. The gold for 2,500 is, right? Gold at 2,500, 24.80. Yeah, that's expensive. I can buy the quarter ounce for 650. Okay, that makes sense because I don't have the 2,400, 24.80 to buy the full ounce, but I got the 31 to buy the full ounce. So I would recommend buying the full ounce. I don't see a barter system where a quarter ounce of silver is going to help you or a tenth ounce of silver is going to help you, because I see the price going up, and it only works. So if you go to Kroger, what they're saying is you'll go to Kroger, you want eggs and milk and everything. How are they going to value it? Are they going to value silver at $30? So quarter ounce is $8.50, and you go get milk and eggs, and you spend $6 for, milk and eggs. How are they going to give you change if they're still using the dollar? Now, if the dollar's out, then they're using the silver. They'll have the tenth of an ounce and quarter ounce, and you don't price it in dollars, you price it in silver. So you're going to price it in, you want milk? Milk's a tenth of an ounce, and eggs are a tenth of an ounce, and tuna fish might be a quarter ounce of silver. Well, if I have the ounce of silver, what do I need the other? So I don't see the advantage of getting tenth of an ounce and quarter of an ounce and looking at a barter system. That won't happen. They'll just change their prices to silver and gold if it gets to that. And that's what people, I don't know why, are having such a hard time. Oh, we'll need barter. No, you won't need barter. I'm not going to barter this. I'm not going to go to the grocery store with this and say, here, give me milk and eggs, and this is $650 and they're $2. So give me back a bunch of change. No, because if they're priced in dollars, then this will still be available. Once this goes to zero and you're at the grocery store, they get repriced in gold and silver. You're not going to see $4 for Cheerios. You're going to see whatever they come up with in silver or gold. That's how they'll have to do. They can't, if it's still $4, then I can still use this. I don't need the barter. And if the dollar goes out, they can't price it in dollars. It'll have to be priced in gold and silver. Now, interestingly, at the coin store yesterday, the guy's telling me about the gold in Fort Knox. So I immediately thought of Die Hard 3 and all the gold in your Fort Knox, right? So he says, we got the 8,000 tons in Fort Knox. And I looked at him like, you're out of your mind. We don't have any gold there. There might be gold there, but it's not ours. It's Chinese. It's China's gold. They bought it from us. So it's China's gold that's held at Fort Knox. The gold in Fort Knox is not ours. And if we had gold there, why wouldn't we show it? And, we've got it's rehypothecated, which means it's not ours. It could just happen Africa wanted their gold out of our Fort Knox, or if it's at the Federal Reserve, wherever it's at, whatever movie we're watching. So we had to give the gold back to Africa because they wanted their gold back. And that's what China will do. We want our gold back. And there's no more gold at Fort Knox. So for me to prove there is no more gold is the same as you to prove there is gold there. Neither of us knows because we can't see it. I believe we don't have any because when the Germans asked for their 300 tons, we couldn't give it to them because it took a few years and we finally got it and it wasn't even theirs. So I don't believe, since we couldn't pay Germany back for theirs, that we have USA gold in Fort Knox. We might have gold that's rehypothecated or sold to China, but it's not ours. So I couldn't, I'm listening to him going, oh, we got gold, but I'm not buying what he's selling. I don't believe that there is U.S. gold in Fort Knox. If there was, why aren't we showing it? We haven't had an audit since 1950. Why not? Oh, Howard, do you have any gold? Yeah, here it is. Here's a piece of the pie, piece of the puzzle. So yes, I do have it. But you can't, if I didn't produce it, you go, well, Howard, you say you have it, but you don't show it, so I don't believe you have it. Well, that's how Fort Knox is. You say you have it, but I don't believe you have it. So I don't believe there's 8,000 tons of U.S. gold in Fort Knox. There might be, but it's Chinese probably and Indian. I don't believe it's U.S. And so prove it. Show me. Show me that it's U.S. gold that you have in your Fort Knox. And I don't smell what they're cooking at all. Because if they do, they would show it because we need to see it. But nobody, Egon and the alligator, nobody believes that there's U.S. that there's gold in Fort Knox that's U.S. that they think it's sold to China, and they just need to take delivery of it. And that's the bottom line. If they did, then we'd go on the gold back currency system, gold standard also. Because obviously what we're using doesn't work. 35 trillion in debt and 150 trillion dollars printed obviously doesn't work. You can't just print and print and print and think it doesn't hurt the value, as the value of this is now 99.5% gone. So this is like 1 penny, if that much, is what it's worth. So I don't buy that. So just keep enough of this to pay your bills, and then the rest goes here and goes into a safe, and you're fine. If you got a real lot, then maybe you fly to Switzerland and talk to Egon about storing your gold. But I don't. Who do you trust? And are you going to be able to fly there and the whole thing? So it makes it very difficult what to do with it. And you just buy a safe and you find a nice safe place for it, and that's where it goes. And then, if we need it, we have it. If maybe we don't need it, if you're still working, then you're fine, and you go from there. Anyway, I think that's about it. Anything else? Questions, comments? Let's go through baseball. For baseball today, we've got Baltimore under 7. We got Miami under 8.5. We got Toronto under 7.5. San Diego, Houston, and the Yanks, 6 games. The basketball, I really don't have a good feel on. I would assume Dallas, since they finally woke up in Game 4, play them a good game in Game 5. I think Boston wins. I think it'll be close because it's a closeout game. And usually the team doing the closing usually chokes. A team that's about to be eliminated plays really strong. So I would put very tiny amount on Dallas. I think it's 6.5 or 7. If you're a Dallas fan, if you're a Boston fan, whatever, that would be the only way I'd play it. I really won't bet the game, but I think superficially it's an elimination game. Dallas will play their best game. Now, will Luca Brasi try or do what he did in game 4? I don't know. I hope that he would try, that he just fixed game 3 and didn't obviously played much better in game 4. So we're not really sure. We'll figure it out. But that's where we're at. Buy your gold and silver. Tuesday is my 4th interview with this company, and now I'm up for 2 positions at the company. So it's nice to have a bidding war over me. Well, it's not a bidding war, but it's nice to have 2 jobs that they want me for. Then the odds on getting one are pretty good. And then I'm waiting on the trust. I figure that'll be a month or 2 away, and I don't know how much I'll get. And that's it. So have a nice Father's Day, the U.S. Open. I hate that Bryson DeChambeau, so I hope he doesn't win. But there's really no players. I mean, what do you root for? Rory to, do something? Otherwise, there's no players to root for. It's getting really boring golf. The players are terrible, and you just don't. You're watching, going, who cares? Really, I'm watching. The shots are terrible. They can't putt. They couldn't chip yesterday. They kept going on these greens, leaving the ball short, rolling off. I love how the announcers are so surprised. It's a big fucking hill, and the ball hits and rolls down the hill, and they're, oh, look how fast it is. No, dude, it's a fucking hill, and it's rolling down the hill. That's what's happening. But anyway, so I think that's it. Again, we'll see. I don't believe there's any gold in Fort Knox. If they had some, they would show it. There's no advantage of not showing it if you have it, and nobody believes they have it. So again, I don't know where this guy's getting it from, but I don't buy it. I don't smell what he's cooking. And that's about it. So have a good day, everybody. Happy Father's Day. Off to the pool. www.teaserking.com. Have a nice day. All right. Take care. And I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Ciao.